So you want to be a Pathfinder. So you want to be more flashy than Bowmaster and Marksman, but you want to be an Explorer Archer anyway. Well, then you've come to the right class. So in the Beginner tab, it's pretty much the same as every other Explorer, except that you can teleport back to a different place instead of Maple Island. You can go to whatever that place is called. These two skills are event skills, so don't worry about those. And, of course, like Explorers, they don't have any Link skills currently. However, KMS or Korean MapleStory did get Link skills for Explorers, so you will be having the Archer Link skill eventually. But currently in GMS, they do not have it. So I'm just going to move on to first job. So, Curse Dampening. This skill will weaken you unless you're attacking. Or I should say that the whole class itself is weakened unless you're attacking. So this actually weakens the curse, making you stronger. So as you attack, you will gain stacks of this skill. And as you gain stacks, you gain 2% crit rate. And it can stack up to 10 times for a total of 20%. Now, because I'm 4th job, I actually, the curse is lifted from me, so even if I attack, I can't show that. So I'm probably going to have my other server, Pathfinder, just to show the crit rate increasing and decreasing. But yeah, that's pretty much what this skill does. And there's one for every job advance except 4th job, because 4th job you break the curse. Or you're free from the curse. So, moving on, we have... So moving on, we have Cardinal Deluge. I don't think that's how to pronounce it. Hold on a second. Okay, so this is how you're supposed to pronounce it?
Deluge.
Deluge? But I don't think I'm going to do that, so sorry if I don't pronounce it that way. So anyway, Cardinal I'm just called Deluge, whatever. So this is a Cardinal Force skill, and pretty much you get 3 Cardinal Force skills. You get that skill, you get a 2nd job skill, and then 3rd job you get another one. And I'll explain what all this means. There's basically Cardinal Force skills, Ancient Force skills, and Enchant Force skills. But again, I'll go over all that. So this one will give you the Deluge emblem when you use it. It's also ping reliant, so if you have high ping or you lag a lot, it is going to take a while for this skill to actually activate and come out. But what it does is it'll launch arrows to enemies that are near you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It hits up to 4 enemies. Go ahead and... There we go, now it fired 3. So it can fire up to 4. And yeah, it'll just like home in on the enemies. So that's basically your first job mobbing skill. Oh, and also hits 4 times. Next we have double jump, which you already saw me using. Double tap jump to double jump. And sorry about my loud keyboard, by the way. I got a new mic and I can't really find a way to have my voice, be heard while also having my mouse not heard. So yeah, sorry about that. Maybe I'll move my mic a little further away like this. Anyway, so yeah, double tap jump in order to jump horizontally, and then if you double tap up while in the air, you'll do a vertical jump. And then of course you can jump downwards as well if you want to, descend faster, like this. And yeah, that's double jump. So I was thinking, for this new, the revamped version of the So You Wanna Be series, should I go over passives this time? I guess I'll do it for this video just to test the waters. But normally I would just hover over it, have you guys read it. I just hover over it quickly so you guys can read it, but I guess I'll just go over it. So Archer Mastery increases the range of your attacks by 120, increases your movement speed by 30, and makes it so that instead of having 140 max movement speed, you have 160. And then of course we have Forceful Shot, which will increase your crit rate by 40%. Moving on to second job, let me add in the points here. Okay, so in second job, you then get your second mobbing skill, and this one moves a certain distance before exploding. I know I should probably go over this skill first, but let me just do Cardinal Burst first. So it'll move a certain distance before exploding. And actually, let me use Booster real quick. And as you can see, you can fire really quickly with Booster. And if an enemy is anywhere in between that distance and you, it'll explode early. So like I get close to this thing, and it'll explode, instead of traveling the full distance. It can also hit multiple enemies, and multiple platforms actually, so it's a really good mobbing skill. And what you want to do is you want to macro this skill with Deluge, like this. So that way, as you use one of them, the other one will come out right after. So I'll show you what that looks like out here. Just like that. Alright, and I'll explain why that's super important. So yeah, it does 4 lines, the explosion, all that stuff. Cool. So let's move on to Relic Charge. So Relic Charge is this thing here that you see on the right side. As you use those 2 skills, your Cardinal Force skills, these 2, you will charge your Relic Gauge. And as you attack, you gain 10 to your Relic Gauge, like 10 gets charged into here, and of course you can charge up to 1,000. And then it says for every guided arrow, you get 5 energy. However, I don't really know what that means. That might mean this, and the other one that's like a bomb arrow. Probably. And another side effect is, with Ancient Force skills, they usually have cooldowns. That one has 10 seconds, which is a Swarmshot. I'll go over that in a second. But if you use both of these skills, even without hitting an enemy, it'll still reduce the cooldown by half a second. As you can see, I could use it, even faster, instead of waiting the full 10 seconds. So that's the other effect of it. And then we have Curse Dampening 2, which instead of crit rate, it is now defense. So now, not only are you gaining crit rate for continuously attacking, but you're also gaining defense. And then this just increases the effect of Cardinal Deluge. And if you're fighting a boss, 1 extra arrow will fire. So, not bad. Now we move on to Swarmshot, which when you use it, it just shoots a straight line, has a very, very good hitbox. In other words, the hitbox is very honest. So when it pierces through enemies, it'll form 2 like small arrows, which will then fly around the map to try and of course hit enemies. And I believe the range is good enough to actually, if you're fighting Deluxe and you're hitting the gem, it's actually good enough for you to actually hit the, what am I trying to say? If you hit the gem with it, it'll kill the mobs on the bottom. Because they do travel quite a bit. And they of course do a lot of damage. The initial arrow does 4 lines, and the extra arrows that are formed also do 4 lines. So let me go ahead and try and get a lot of them to spawn. Okay, here we go. That does so much. But yeah, you're going to be using this skill a lot. It's really good, even though it's a second job skill. Has a cooldown of 10 seconds, and can hit up to 8 enemies. And then we have Booster, which just increases your attack speed by 2. And that's what it looks like. Bountiful Deluge. I know, again, that's not how you pronounce it, but I'm doing it because it's easier for me. So, when you see the Deluge emblem here, and you use Burst, or, the second job skill, Cardinal Burst, this arrow has a 40% chance of coming out. It'll create 3 of them, actually. So right now I have the Deluge emblem showing on the Relic Gauge, and then I use Burst. There's a 40% chance that those arrows will be created. So let me go ahead and show you what those arrows look like. There they are. They just flew over there. And they do 4 lines of damage. Pretty strong. There you go. And they will definitely help out your mobbing and bossing. Oh, and they can also stay around the area for like 2 seconds or so. I feel like it's less than 2 seconds, but they basically stay just in case the enemy dies, and then if another one spawns, it'll move on to them. Oh, it actually does 3 lines. I'm sorry, I thought it was 4. Let's see. Mastery increases your bow mastery by 50%, as well as your attack by 30. Physical training increases your strength and dex by 30. Moving on to third job, I'm going to go ahead and add my points in here. Okay, so third job, you get Curse Dampening 3. Now, this one deals with status resistance, which I know doesn't sound too important, but believe me, it's really good. So, of course, again, stacks up to 10 times, giving you 2% status resist for each time that you stack it. And yeah, that's about that. You get a boosted version of Cardinal Burst, Cardinal Burst Amplification, which makes it so that it now hits 5 enemies, does the same amount of lines but does more damage. And I don't remember if I mentioned this. Oh no, I guess that's only third job. So if you hit less than the max amount of enemies, you do more final damage. So let's say you hit 5 enemies, it's just normal. Let's say you hit 1 enemy, then your damage is boosted by 40% final damage. So that's really good. Makes this pretty much a really good bossing skill then. And that's about it for that. Cardinal Torrent, this is your next Cardinal skill, Cardinal Force skill. And when you use it, you get the Torrent emblem, which is super useful. You'll know why when you get to 4th job. So when you use this skill, you can actually teleport. So if I hold up and use it, I'll teleport up here. You always teleport a certain distance. If I hold left or right, of course you teleport there. So it's really good. However, it is a charge skill, and what that means is after a certain amount of time, you get 1 use of the skill. So they call it Swift Strike Charge. You get 1 Swift Strike Charge, but I'm just going to call it charges. So you gain 1 charge every 7 seconds, and you can have up to 5 charges. And I guess that's all I want to say about it for now. Eventually, you'll know why this skill is amazing. It also does damage, by the way, so you can also use it for mobility or mobbing or whatever. Triple Impact. I don't really like this skill. It does a lot of damage, but I don't really use it too much. You jump into the air if you're on the ground, and fire 3 arrows. Let me go ahead and reduce the cooldown. And then if you're already in the air, you'll just fire arrows straight down. 3 arrows. Now those arrows do a lot of damage individually, but if you hit 1 enemy with all 3 of them, oh my god. And because the arrows actually fire from a little bit behind your head or right here, going down, it's pretty easy to hit the platform above you. So let me see if I can do that here. So usually what I do is I'll go below the enemy, or I'll go right next to them and use it. Basically... Oh, it didn't hit that platform. Well, usually it just hits the platform above me and I cry because it didn't hit the enemy I wanted it to hit. But yeah, hits 5 times on 4 enemies. Really strong. It's also an Ancient Force skill, so of course it uses Relic Gauge points. I forgot to mention that Ancient Force skills do that, so Swarmshot also does that. This one uses 50, and this uses also 50, so not too much. And that's about it for that skill. Shadow Raven. So much like Bowmaster and Marksman, you get your own bird. This bird will continuously do damage to enemies around you. It also passively increases your defense by 30%. In 4th job there's more to that bird, but for now that's all I can say about it really. Cursebound Endurance. Now this is just a status resistance skill. Without it, as you can see, my status resist is 32, mainly because I'm breaking the curse already. But if I activate this skill, you can see that it goes up to 62. Now, if you're hit by a status effect, or a status ailment I should say, then this will increase your status resistance by another 20, and it can stack up to 5 times. So your status resist can reach probably the most status resist in the whole game. This class has a lot of crit and a lot of status resist. It's amazing. But yeah, anything else you want to read on the skill? It's pretty much there. I don't really, I don't really care for this skill too much, even though it's really, really good. All right. So anyway, moving on to Guidance of the Ancients. So this skill, every time your relic gauge reaches 1,000. I shouldn't put it that way. That's a little confusing to how it actually works. Okay, I'll leave it like that for now, and then I'll explain how it actually works. So whenever your relic gauge is filled up to 1,000, your final damage will increase by 15%, and then upon activation, it'll also recover 20% of your HP and MP. And then passively, it increases your HP by 50%, as well as your final damage by 10%. Now, the reason that I said I didn't want to explain it that way is because let's look at how my relic gauge is right now. It's at 800, right? So you would think, oh, just get 200 more and you get the buff. That is not correct. It actually is based on this outer ring. So this outer ring is also kind of like the one in the middle, where it can go up to 1,000. Right now I have 0, like none of it is charged. But if I were to go out here and start attacking, sorry, I don't want to KS anybody out here. Oh, actually, I already got some of it. So as you can see, some of it's already charged. I would say that's about, I don't know, 200 of it's charged, maybe. Oh, that's actually people from my guild and alliance. I'll leave them alone anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and use up some more of my relic gauge, because if you have your relic gauge already full, it won't. Ignore the skill real quick. Okay, you ignored that? Cool. Because that was a 5th job skill. So it will actually not allow you to get any more relic gauge. So definitely use your Ancient Force skills to use up your relic gauge. And then, yeah, you'll be able to gain more relic gauge. Did I say that right? I don't even know what Isaac's saying. Hold on, what is he saying? He said, oh my god, big fan, Big Sean. I am not Big Sean. Oh my god, and then he left. Okay. So yeah, as you'll see, I'm going to gain this before I gain the one in the middle, and then I'll get the buff. So let me go ahead and keep attacking. Oh, let me move that so you can actually see it fill up. So yeah, we're almost there. Just need a little bit more, and there we go. You can see there were like 3 things that appeared above my head, and now I have the buff over here. So yeah, even though this isn't at 1,000, because the ring around the outside got to 1,000, then yeah, it just gave it to me. So the way I'll put it is the outer ring, this is 0 if it's up here, like if you have nothing, like I do right now. It's 500 if it's down here, and then yeah, that's just, yeah, you can do the rest of the math, I guess. So yeah, that's that skill, or passive I should say. And then we have Bountiful Burst. Now remember how before you had to have Deluge and then you use Burst or Blast, no, it is Burst actually. Use Burst and then it would activate the other arrows. Well, this one's the opposite. For this one, you need to have the Burst emblem showing, and then you use Deluge. And when you do that, this one has a 40% chance to activate, which creates 2 bomb arrows, which will search for enemies and then explode, dealing damage to enemies around the ones that, you know, it exploded on. Of course, the arrows do 3 lines to 4 enemies, and it's, again, really helpful for mobbing. I'll show that, you know, I'll show it right now. I was gonna wait, but I'll show it now, it's fine. So let me try to get those to activate. It's the regular arrows. Okay, so there's the bomb arrows. Hopefully you saw those. I'll get them to activate again. There we go. So yeah, really good. It's just another extra damage skill. And then we have Evasion Boost, which gives you a 30% dodge chance, and if you do successfully dodge an attack, you get 1 second of just crit hits. Just 1 second though. That's every time you dodge, so it's really good. Archer's Essence increases your crit rate by 10%, your damage by 20%, and your ignore defense by 30%. So now you can see I have 75% crit. Is that it? Yeah, I guess that is it, yeah. Let's move on to 4th job. Relic Charge 2. This is just a boosted version of the first one. So now instead of only charging 10 per attack, you charge 20 relic gauge per attack. And instead of your extra arrows or guided arrows doing 10, or doing 5, it now does 10. Not only that, but now your little raven can increase, or for every attack that it does, it increases your charge by 10. So really helpful. Makes the raven super helpful there. Oh, and instead of reducing the cooldown of Ancient Force skills by half a second, it's now by 1 full second. I mean, because this is a passive that I couldn't take off, I've had this the whole time. But yeah, just know that you can use your skills a lot faster. Also, oh, by the way, that doesn't work on 5th job skills. It works on hypers though, so you can use your hypers a lot more often. Or any other Ancient Force skill, aside from 5th job. Curse Weaver. Should I go over this now? Okay, so let me add the points in first, and then I'll explain everything. So, Curse Weaver, when you inflict a curse upon an enemy, you can basically stack it 5 times, and it'll be shown by, you know, the different the look of the curse based on what stack you have. But for each stack of the curse, you gain 4% crit damage to that enemy. And certain skills can curse enemies. I'll show you exactly which ones they are. But yeah, that's what this skill is saying. It's a passive. Advanced Cardinal Force. This will make your previously not so amazing mobbing skills amazing. So now, as you can see, it's a lot bigger. It's, of course, does more damage. Like, look at that. I'm hitting 2 platforms now without even jumping. And I do more damage. It's really good. Look at that. Oh my god, I love this class. Okay, let me move on. Oh my god. Oh, actually, let me mention the other part. So not only are these 2 skills really good, but Torrent, the teleport skill, now puts the curse debuff on enemies. So that's the first stack, second stack, third stack almost killed them. Okay, well, yeah, I'll just show you the other stacks later. But yeah, as you can see, it now curses enemies, so that's really good. Because you want that crit damage. And I already mentioned the Torrent emblem, right? Yeah. Oh, also you're not knocked back by enemy attacks if you're using Torrent, Cardinal Torrent. However, I don't know if that means super knockback as well. I'll have to confirm that later on when I go fight like Magnus or something. An additional 10% final damage for each enemy below the max, yeah. So yeah, it just made the other skill stronger. Glyph of Impalement. Now, this skill gets stronger based on how many stacks of the curse debuff you have on the enemy. So normally, it does enough damage already, but you can increase the final damage by 10% for each stack, which means it can go up to 50% final damage increase. This skill is so good because it doesn't even have a cast animation. So in the middle of attacking, you can just use it. It's so good. And you're going to want to have to keep the stacks up anyway, so definitely use this whenever you can. And of course, since it's an Ancient Force skill, you can reduce the cooldown. And then we have probably my favorite skill this class has, which is the Combo Assault. And this skill changes based on which emblem you have. So right now I have Deluge. What they call it again? Deluge? Is that what it is? And with this emblem, it has massive range. As you can see. And of course, it'll actually activate the curse debuff as well. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce the cooldown. And then I'll use the burst version of it. Which just does more damage but less range. And also applies a curse debuff. Now, the one that I use is the Torrent one when I'm bossing. I use Deluge when I'm mobbing, and Torrent when I'm bossing. But upon hitting, you get instant 5 stacks of the curse debuff. I don't think these guys can survive the hit. There we go. So as you can see, that's the 5 stack right there. So yeah, it just instantly applies the 5 stack, which is why I use that for bossing. And that's all 3 of them. Oh, actually, does Burst only hit a single enemy? I never noticed that. It does hit one enemy, so I guess it only hits one enemy, but it hits them 8 times versus the other ones, which don't. Huh. Okay, I didn't know that. Let me see what this one was again. Yeah, and this one hits 5 enemies. Okay, I learned something. And then we have another buff, which is a party buff, Sharp Eyes. Increases crit rate by 20% and crit damage 15% to all party members. Maple Warrior, another party skill, increases all stats by 15% for everyone in the party. Hero's Will, pretty much works the same as all the other ones. Removes an abnormal status from you, as well as making you invincible or immune to abnormal status for 3 seconds. Bountiful Torrent. So this skill, if you have the Torrent emblem displayed, like right now if I attack, you'll see that I don't have like any extra buff, but if I have the Torrent, and then I use my attacks, you'll see that for 7 seconds, this buff will appear. And what that means is my next attacks will have a chance to apply the curse debuff to enemies. And then of course it permanently increases your attack by 20%. But yeah, you have a 40% chance to apply a stack of the curse debuff. And then Ancient Archery, which is another passive, pretty much increases the damage of pretty much all of your useful attacks. Triple Explosion, Bountiful Lulls, Bountiful Burst, you know, the homing arrows. Swarmshot increases the first damage by a lot, increases the extra magical arrows by a lot. Final damage of Ancient Force and Enchant Force skills increase by 10%, as well as boss damage by 50%. So that's like this enchant skill, Ancient Force, like I said, this skill. Enchant skills are skills that have different forms. So how this can have like B, you can have D or T. Yeah. So those are enchant skills. What else did I not go over? Bow Expertise. Another passive, increases your mastery by 70%, attack by 60%, and crit damage by 10%. And then Illusion Step, another passive, increases your dex by 80%, avoidability by 30%, and the damage that you take is reduced by 20%. So now we move on to Hypers. Oh boy, Hypers. Okay, so we'll go over hyper passives first, and then, yeah, hyper skills. So for the passives, I did all 3 of Cardinal Force skills. So I made the damage higher, I made the activation of the curse debuff, activate 10%, have a higher percent chance of activating, and then of course the number of attacks increased by 1. And this affects both of these skills, as well as this skill. So, you know, Cardinal Force skills. Ancient Force skills, which are like this, that, and the other ones that I mentioned. This one. Oh no, that's a burst skill. What's it called? Enchant skill. I meant like this. So Ancient Force, the ones that use Relic Gauge, but don't have like different forms. Yeah, that's this. So what I do is I increase the boss as well as the regular damage. And then for the, you know, actual hypers, like the active skills, this one you get first, which is called Awakened Relic. And this will instantly fill your Relic Gauge to 1000. That doesn't always mean that it's going to give you the full, like here, I'll use it. So it's going to fill up the Relic Gauge, this part, to 1000, but since it's at 280, I'm not going to get the full, you know, thing here. I just got like close to like 800 something probably. But yeah, it's really good for making your blue part go all the way up to 1000, so you can use Ancient Force skills. And not only that, but it also makes it so that you get 1 extra arrow when you use Bountiful Deluge and Bountiful Burst. And then remember how this skill you can use every 7 seconds? Well, with that hyper activated, it's every 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds you get a charge for that skill, which is really, really fast. And the cooldown is 120 seconds, and yeah, that's about it that I want to say about it. So next we get, oh, and you get this skill at 140. So next we get the 160 hyper, which is another enchant skill, which means it has 3 different forms. I'll go over that in a second. And then at level 190, you get Epic Adventurer, or Epic Adventure, which gives 10% damage to you and your party if they're explorers. And then if another explorer that's like a pirate or any other explorer class, you can like stack it. So let's go over, what was it called again? Ancient Astra, or Astra. So in torrent form, you use it and you can like move around with it. You can't turn around and you can't jump, but you can move left and right. And its duration is based on how much gauge you have, relic gauge charge you have. Although the max you can hold it is 15 seconds, and it'll use 80 relic gauge every second. So I'm gonna go ahead and charge again, and this time we'll use. So I'll just say this: the lulz version, the D version, is the strongest. Definitely strongest. You don't get to move and you don't get to turn around, but it'll fire magic arrows, which will definitely increase how much damage you do. Oh, I should also mention, in each form, you take... Oh, wait, actually... No, it doesn't look like in yellow form you take less damage. Well, in blue form, or in D form, you take 20% reduced damage for using this skill, and it includes percent HP attacks. And then of course for burst, you take 40% less damage from all attacks, even percent HP. However, with the burst form, you can, you can't move, but you can aim it up or down. You can move twice up and twice down. And same thing, every second it takes 80 relic gauge. Oops. And yeah, you take reduced damage. It just fires a single arrow that explodes and does damage. Kind of reminds me of a bigger version of Cardinal Burst, I mean. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, it fires little extra magic arrows, which will seek out enemies. But I can't move, can't jump, can't do anything. But it is the most damaging version of that skill. Alright, so let's move on to 5th job skills. Oh, and you do have to hold it down. I don't know if I had to mention that, but yeah. You hold it down. And yeah. Alright, so let's move on to 5th job skills. Nova Blast. This skill does so much damage and hits a wide range of the area. Like, it's so good. So it'll take all the energy left within your relic gauge to do a massive explosion attack. Based on how much energy it used, it'll increase its final damage. So if your relic gauge is filled up all the way, it'll have 100% final damage increase, which is crazy. It also ignores all enemy defense. And yeah, like I said, based on how much energy, so 25%, 50%, 75%, and then finally 100% final damage added. Let's see, anything else I want to mention? Not really. 15 attacks to 15 enemies, yeah, it's really strong. Really, really strong skill. Raven Tempest. This skill can only be used while your Raven is actually summoned. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. Well, actually, since I mentioned that other skill first, let me get my energy up. You know what? I'll use the Raven while I'm doing that, because the Raven will actually increase my relic gauge anyway. So it's a great way to just get energy back, aside from using the Hyper. Alright, so I believe we're at 1,000 now. And there's the Raven. If you press the skill again, you can change its direction manually. You can do that every 2 seconds. Now I can move it to the left again, and yeah. But let's do Nova Blast. Like I said, the skill is amazing. Ooh, yes. That is an extremely strong attack. Oh, by the way, you're invincible while casting it as well. Wait, why am I gaining this energy again? No, get out of here. So yeah, extremely strong, only has a 2-minute cooldown, same thing with the Raven Tempest, only 2-minute cooldown. And just so strong, and it's only level 1 as well. And finally, we have Obsidian Barrier. Now, in Deluge form, it makes a shield for you and your party. So like, individually, you each get a shield, as long as you're near each other. So it's kind of like Bishop's Holy Shell. Oh, I don't have enough energy charge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. So it makes a small shield for everyone individually, and they can just move around with it. This version of it will actually avoid Lucid's bomb. So if, you know, anyone calls out, "Hey, I got a bomb on me," have everyone group up and use this skill. It'll protect everybody from the bomb, like it actually guards it. So once again, let's see. So it will reduce damage by 40%, and that includes percent HP. But again, against bombs, it just completely guards it. The Blast version, however, does not guard against bomb completely, but it will reduce damage by 40%, and that includes percent HP attacks. And it also deals damage. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Deluge one does not... Did I say reduce damage? Does not do damage, but the Blast one does. The Blast and the Turret one does damage. The Blast one is the biggest one out of all of them, and it does continuous damage. And then of course there's the Turret one, which the only difference... Well, okay, it's like the medium-sized one. It's not very big, but you can actually move it around. It's still on cooldown, so I can't show you. But you can move it around every 2 seconds. So if like you're over here and you're like, "Oh, I want to move the shield over here," you just press the skill again, and you can move it over there. Maybe I'll just put in a part where I do that. But yeah, that is all of the skills. I guess I can go over Hyperstats. Pretty much the same for every class, though. I actually do like damage, crit rate if you need it. I know on this class you really don't, so I usually just go straight to crit damage. Then boss damage or attack, and then ignore enemy defense, and so on. But there is a calculator somewhere, just like look it up I guess, or maybe I'll find a link and put it in the description, probably won't though, where you can do a calculation of like all of your equips and stats and stuff to find out what the best hyperstat for you is. For me I just did, what was it, crit damage and damage, because why not? You can mix it up if you want, if you could put like 2 points into this, 3 points into that, whatever you want to do. And, okay, so look, now it's still on cooldown for another minute. I'm like trying to get the, you know what, here's what I'll do. I'll do some mobbing as a 4th job, what do you call it, Pathfinder, to waste time until I can use the shield again. Which one should I do first, Blast? I'll do Blast first. So yeah, mobbing, pretty much just use your main 2 attacks. Definitely have them on a macro. Where is it? Oh, let me get rid of this first. So yeah, have Burst first and then Deluge. Deluge? I think it was Deluge. Why'd I say Deluge? Anyway. Oh, and here's some bossing actually. So what I usually do is I hit them with this, hit them with the full combo, and then just start going crazy. I don't really use triple impact too much. You can if you want, it's really good, but I don't like it. Make sure you get that curse, and then use the, what's that skill called? Glyph of Impalement, okay. I already forgot. And yeah. Alright, so now we have the shield. So let me get the burst version of it. And here you go. As you can see, it does a lot of damage. It's a huge area. You can't move it, but it will protect you and your party. Not from bombs, but just you and your party. It's really good, really big, does damage. Love it. So now we wait another 3 minutes. So as you can see, you can place the shield, and if you press the skill again, you can move it to the other spot. So it does damage, so you can like move it to where the boss is to protect yourself. It's nice. I'm just going to use Nova Blast to show you the invincibility buff on the top, as well as how strong it is. So let's curse him. Okay, ready for this? Here we go. So there's an invincibility debuff, or buff, I mean. And yeah, that took a pretty huge chunk out of his HP. Let me just attack him. And, I mean, I guess I can show you the, hyper skill. It's really strong. My goodness, this hyper skill. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to show about this class. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next video. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter, and sub on YouTube if you can, or if you haven't already. I know a lot of people forget to sub when people don't remind them to sub, so I guess I'll start doing that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next video. Goodbye! So yeah, I actually have a blank Legion. There's no stats helping me. And then these are the other two that I had. So go back to that one actually. So yeah, pretty big difference. So anyway, like I said, feel free to follow me on YouTube, or sub to me on YouTube if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I definitely stream more than I record. Same name as my YouTube, so it's pretty easy to find. Goodbye!